Hey guys. Sorry for no upload, I'm pretty busy this week. Also, first time doing a Kakashi-centric story. This is what if Kakashi was teleported to a different timeline. Kakashi falls off a tree and lands in a different world. Literally. Now he's in a dimension where nothing makes sense, but he's used to that. Kakashi plans to wreak as much havoc as he can and find his way home, if he can. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start. Chapter 1. Talking to Trees. 1 minute Kakashi was standing in a tree, and the next minute he was on a roof. Now, Kakashi wasn't exactly normal himself, but even he knew that random teleporting was pretty unusual. The baffled shinobi looked around, trying to pinpoint his location. He said. Fuck. Slowly, methodically, Kakashi worked his way through every insult and profane word he could think of. After he finished insulting the parentage of everyone in listening range, Kakashi took a deep breath. Alright, he mumbled to himself. There has to be an explanation for this. Either someone decided to deface the monument by removing every Hokage after the fourth, or I'm trapped in a genjutsu. And since Naruto's not in Konoha at the moment, it's probably the second. Kakashi flared his chakra wildly and blinked. Nothing changed. Odd. Why didn't that break the genjutsu? He wondered. Tsukiyomi? No, everything isn't red and black, and I'm not being tortured at the moment. Senpai. What's wrong? Kakashi turned to see. Tenzo, what are you doing here? Actually, why were any of them here? Weren't they supposed to be fighting a war at the moment? Are you alright? I felt your chakra from the other side of the village. His younger friend's signature emanated worry. Kakashi squinted in response. Wait, Tenzo looked way too young. Weird, he frowned as he raised his Hitite. Why did he still have the Sharingan? What happened to his other eye? The world came into sharp focus as he scanned the surrounding area. Everything looked fine, and genjutsu-free. Sighing, Kakashi laconically drew a kunai. Tenzo stiffened but looked on with wary curiosity. Without a trace of hesitation, Kakashi plunged the weapon into his own arm. Pain was another effective way of dispelling most genjutsu, if you were controlling the pain. Senpai. Kakashi ignored him and stabbed himself in the leg with the kunai. He could feel the pain quite clearly. He poked the wound and examined the blood. It definitely felt real. He was about to try again, but Tenzo grabbed his wrist. What the hell are you doing, stabbing myself? Isn't that obvious? He said blandly. Why, I like pointy objects. Now if you'll excuse me. Kakashi prepared to flicker away, but a sudden hand on his shirt stopped that action. Reflexively, he twisted the hand and tossed the culprit onto the floor. Sorry, Tenzo, Kakashi said cheerfully. He hopped down from the rooftop and cast a henge, now appearing as a nondescript shinobi. His leg and arm throbbed, and Kakashi grimaced. He'd been a little overenthusiastic with the kunai. Silently, without attracting any attention, he made his way to his favorite tree behind the memorial stone. I could have sworn you were burned down, he murmured to the tree. Do you know what's going on? In one fluid motion, he made his way to the top of the tree. As he gazed upon the unbroken and bustling village, Kakashi's confusion increased. This doesn't make sense. Konoha looks like it did before Pain's attack. Suddenly, Kakashi froze, and his eyes widened. For the second time, he fell out of a tree. Kakashi's first word upon waking up was a ridiculously undramatic ouch. He blearily blinked, closing his Sharingan eye out of habit. His head felt like 1,000 Naruto shadow clones were bouncing around in his skull. Why does my head hurt? Kakashi! You're awake. Kakashi's eyes focused, and he stared at the person who had spoken. A wave of relief crashed into him. Sensei, we won? Minato's brow wrinkled. Won what? Kakashi rolled his eyes. The war. What else would I be talking about? He examined his former sensei. So you're still here. I was half afraid that you would be de-resurrected, I guess. What happened to Naruto and the others? Are they alright? And what happened to my eye? His former sensei stared at Kakashi before reaching out and placing his hand on Kakashi's forehead. You don't have a fever, but maybe I should call a nurse just in case. Kakashi pushed the hand off. Worry about my health later. Sensei, did we win the war? Minato examined him with concern. Kakashi, the third shinobi war ended 11 years ago. Kakashi almost fell backwards in shock. Third shinobi war? What the hell? He took a slow breath to calm himself. Shinobi rule number 29. When confused, bullshit your way out. Aha, of course. Kakashi gave his patented eye smile. I had a dream of the war again. I was just a bit confused, that's all. I'm fine now, right? The dubious expression on his old teacher's face was almost enough to make him fidget. Well, if you're fine now, why don't you explain to me what's going on? That's my line. I'm the one who's confused. Kakashi blinked apathetically at his teacher. What do you mean? He said evenly. Explain to me why you stabbed yourself with a kunai, nearly knocked Tenzo out, and fell out of a tree unconscious. Kakashi looked Minato straight in the eye. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, Kakashi. A deadly expression appeared in his sensei's face, the one that usually preceded someone dying or becoming severely traumatized. Or both, honestly. My memory is blank. Do you want me to bring a Yamanaka to fix that? Minato glared at his former student. Kakashi blanched. No, that's not necessary. Not at all. Then tell me. Look, I don't really care about Tenzo or the tree. I want to know why you felt it was necessary to hurt yourself. That was brutally honest, thought Kakashi, smirking. Poor Tenzo. His expression sobered when the yandame's glare intensified. There was a bug. So I stabbed it, but I missed. Twice. The silence that followed was smothering. See, this is why I forced you to take a break. Minato's voice became vaguely paternal. You're letting distress get to you, but I didn't realize it was this bad. Listen carefully, or I'll assign you D ranks for the rest of your life. You will relax for 1 week. Read a book, watch a movie, go on a date with Itachi. Kakashi fell out of the hospital bed. What? He screeched. Minato's lips twitched. Admit it, Kakashi. You need a girl in your life. And Itachi is the only one who meets your ridiculous standards. She's pretty, at least as smart as you are. Hey, she'll probably become stronger than you in a few years. Sure, she's 8 years younger than you. Her parents will never allow a relationship, and the Uchiha clan will try to kill you, but what's life without a little adventure? He paused. Actually, if you marry Itachi, then you'll technically become an Uchiha. Then the Sharingan will only be in the Uchiha clan again. At this point, Kakashi stopped listening. Itachi is alive. What the hell? Itachi is a girl. Itachi. What? Minato is trying to set me up with a zombie mass murderer who isn't really a mass murderer. Itachi. And his brain just broke. Minato-sensei? Said Kakashi slowly, interrupting his teacher's rant on their compatibility. I am going to sleep now, and when I wake up, I expect this dream, this nightmare, to end. Good night. When Kakashi woke up, he was still in a hospital. Grimacing, he tore of the customary restraints that strapped him to the bed. With the ease of a man who had done this 100 times, Kakashi slipped out the window and made his way to the apartment he had lived in for most of his life. He frowned at the seals on his apartment. Kakashi didn't recognize them at all. Thankfully, they were also inactive. Deftly, he unlocked the window and jumped in. Kakashi rolled to avoid the spray of Samban and fell into an attack position. What the hell are you doing in my apartment? Genma glared at him grumpily, chewing on his weapon of choice. Your apartment? Damn it, are you drunk? You nearly gave me a heart attack. No, I'm not going to give you sugar or milk, or whatever the hell you need. Do your own grocery shopping. Genma blinked and looked closer at his friend. Wait a minute, aren't you supposed to be in the hospital? I heard something about you cutting your hand off with a kunai. As you can see, my hands are still intact. I'm perfectly alright. Genma eyed the bandages around his arm and leg. Sure you are. And if you're really perfectly alright, then get out of my house before I call the Hokage and tell him where you are. Wincing, Kakashi climbed out the window. Even his house was different. Kakashi sighed and extended his senses, trying to find his chakra signature. After a few minutes, he located his apartment. Kakashi deactivated the woefully weak ward's key to his signature and walked in. After giving his home a thorough once-over, Kakashi decided that it wasn't so bad. Of course, it could use a few improvements. 3 hours later, Kakashi had upgraded all the seals in his apartment to satisfy his wartime paranoia. Satisfied, he pulled out a piece of paper and began writing what he knew. Problems, world is fucked up. Minato is alive and not a ghost zombie Jinchurikiri. Genma lives in my apartment. Tsunade was never Hokage. The third shinobi war was 11 years ago. And Itachi is a girl and alive, and probably not homicidal. Causes: falling out of a tree? Sharingan? Madara? Genjutsu? Dimensional travel? Insanity? Naruto? Explanations, solutions. Kakashi glowered at the paper. With a quick fire jutsu, he burned it and tossed the ashes into the trash. He sighed and stretched. He'd need more information before he could make any conclusions. After observing several people, stalking, borrowing information from the shinobi archives, stealing, and appropriating files from the Hokage's desk, more stealing, Kakashi came to the conclusion that this world was batshit insane, and quite different from his. For one thing, the Uchiha clan hadn't been wiped out by Itachi and still operated as the police force. The Hyuga clan, on the other hand, had been decimated by Orochimaru. The current heir was Neji. Hinata and her sister had been demoted to the branch house. Apparently, the remnants of the clan had wanted to have a strong heir to rebuild the clan. Kushina had still died, but Sarutobi had sacrificed his life to seal the Nine Tails into Naruto, leaving Minato to reign as Hokage. Danzo, sadly, still existed and was probably plotting a way to take over Konoha. The weirdest thing he had discovered, other than Itachi being a girl, because that took the cake, was that Tsunade and Jiraiya were married. Married. Jiraiya was married. To Tsunade. What the ever-loving fuck? Kakashi groaned and rubbed his head. Why couldn't he have just ended up in the past? But no, the universe just had to dump him in a different dimension, or a seriously freaky genjutsu. He hadn't ruled that out yet. All the knowledge he had was effectively useless. Well, maybe not completely useless. Kakashi still retained all the combat knowledge and additional jutsu he had learned, and he knew the weaknesses of many opponents. Briefly, Kakashi wondered if he could activate the Mangekyo Sharingan. Sure, it caused blindness, but the ability to travel to dimensions was pretty useful when you were stuck in another dimension. He'd have to train like hell, though. His physical chakra pool was absolutely pathetic. Oddly enough, the spiritual component was overflowing. Consequence of dimensional traveling? Clearly, Kakashi wasn't in his 30-something-year-old body anymore. Perhaps the soul had switched places or something. Hell, if he knew, he would do more research, maybe even ask Jiraiya. Thankfully, that old pervert was alive in this freaky dimension, even if he was married. Finding a way to travel between dimensions, with the Sharingan or without, would take a ridiculous amount of time. Kakashi would be stuck here for a while. He frowned and started making some plans. Might as well make the best of the situation. He could maybe meet up with his no-longer-dead friends, and perhaps even beat up that bastard Orochimaru to make him pay for everything. And he couldn't forget Danzo, could he? Kakashi grinned. This place might not be so bad after all. Chapter 2, There's Nothing Tree-Related. Operation Spy on the Uchiha was in full swing. Kakashi peered down at the district below, marveling at busy street. Frankly, seeing all these Uchiha was quite unreal. Kakashi, what the hell are we doing here? Kakashi smiled at the irritated Genma next to him. Why, we're looking for your girlfriend. Didn't you want to talk to that Uchiha girl? Akiko? It's Akemi, he muttered. And I said that she was hot, not that she was my girlfriend. I'm not that interested in her. She's an Uchiha, for God's sake. A roll in the hay is one thing, but a relationship is another. Genma crossed his arms and glared. Besides, sitting on a roof and staring at the street is not talking to her. What's the real reason? I'm from a different dimension where the Uchiha were slaughtered, and I suspect this Danzo is plotting something like that against the Uchiha. That man is obsessed with them. Hell, he implanted their eyeballs in his arm. I need an excuse, he said simply. Hataki-senpai, said a cool voice behind them. How unexpected to see you here. Genma swore and turned around, and Kakashi tensed. Slowly, he faced the stranger. Years of self-control were the only thing preventing him from freaking out and running away. Uchiha-san, replied Kakashi, a smile frozen on his face. It's good to see you again. A flicker of surprise passed over the girl's blank face. Almost unwillingly, Kakashi examined the teenager. He almost fainted when he realized that yes, that was Itachi, and Itachi was a girl. Her features were definitely more feminine than the Itachi he knew, and her hair was a tad bit longer. He tore his gaze away from the female, freak of nature and shouldn't exist, and turned to Genma, who was staring at him with a strange expression on his face. Is there any particular reason you have come to the Uchiha district? She raised a graceful eyebrow. Genma wanted to visit his girlfriend, and I accompanied him, he said smoothly. Kakashi ignored the cries of indignation coming from his friend and smiled. We're finished now. We'll be on our way. He grabbed Genma and ran as fast as he could while dragging the swearing Senbin user. Once they were a safe distance away, Kakashi let him go. You idiot! You told the Uchiha heiress that I was dating a clan member. How could you? You'll get over it. Kakashi carelessly waved his hand. Genma scoffed. Just because you can get away with anything doesn't mean that I can. Genma grumbled for a few more minutes before he looked at the masked ninja curiously. Did you and Itachi get into a fight or something? Kakashi flinched, but covered it with a cough. What are you talking about? Genma shot him an exasperated look. I'm not oblivious. You called her Uchiha-san instead Itachi-chan like you usually do, and you didn't correct her when she said Hataki-senpai. What, you thought I wouldn't notice? Huh. Oops. But there was no way in hell he was playing nice with the Uchiha abomination. Itachi was not a girl, and that was final. It's nothing. Just felt like being a bit formal. Wow, would you look at the time? I have to go water my plants. Kakashi escaped before Genma could say anything more. Kakashi spent the next few hours practicing his kata and ninjutsu. Although his body was certainly younger, his stamina could still use some work. He experimented with the Sharingan a bit and debated whether or not he should activate the next stage. Kakashi decided to wait until his chakra was stabilized and sighed as he started the exercises to increase his chakra reservoir. It was the strangest feeling to have your spiritual chakra exceed your physical chakra. Generally, an imbalance was caused by the opposite combination. There you are. I guessed correctly. Startled, Kakashi threw a kunai at the person behind him. Minato caught the weapon and grinned. Nice reflexes, Kakashi. So, what are you doing here? The Hokage leaned against a tree and watched his student move gracefully through the movements. Training, right. Aren't you supposed to be in the hospital? No. Minato shook his head with amusement. You never change, do you? Kakashi paused slightly at that before continuing. Apparently not. Say, how about we spar? I just finished all the paperwork for the next Chunin exam, and I really need a break. Alright. Kakashi completed the last kata and pivoted, facing Minato. He hadn't sparred with his teacher in ages, and he couldn't deny the thrill that raced through him. What are the rules? No fatal injuries, ninjutsu, or explosive notes. Blowing up the training grounds creates way too much paperwork. If I win, you have to come over to dinner. If you win, you get to come over to dinner. Kakashi raised his eyebrow. With those conditions, I'm coming to dinner no matter who wins. Exactly. The silver-haired man crossed his arms. If I win, I want you to. Kakashi frowned. What did he want? Yes, Minato-sensei, just help me create a dimension-hopping jutsu so I can travel back to my world. I'll think of something. Sounds good. Minato bounced on the balls of his feet and grinned, and Kakashi was suddenly reminded of Naruto. How many times had he seen that same expression on his ex-student's face? Begin! Shouted the blonde, appearing behind Kakashi. He threw his Hiraishin-marked kunai, peppering the field with his markers. Kakashi dodged the subsequent blows and sent a vicious kick which almost caught Minato off guard. The blonde disappeared, narrowly avoiding the punch that followed. I'm impressed, my young student, teased Minato, surprised but proud. Your instincts have improved. But you're not good enough. With a flash, Minato appeared behind Kakashi and grabbed his arm, twisting it. He kicked the back of Kakashi's knee, and the physically younger man crumpled, disappearing in a puff of smoke. The Hokage's eyes widened. What? A shadow clone? Kakashi burst from the ground and grabbed his former teacher's arm. Ah, the good old groundhog trick. Minato scrambled backwards, trying to escape the hold. Gritting his teeth, he used his Hiraishin to teleport away from Kakashi's grasp. To his surprise, Kakashi appeared behind him, forcing him to teleport again. Hey, I said no ninjutsu, complained Minato. We're shinobi. We cheat. Kakashi grinned. Besides, you have Hiraishin. I have to even the field somehow. Minato sighed in mock exasperation, unable to hide the smile of his own. Smart, using Kawarimi to appear behind me, Hokage-sama. A bare-masked ANBU operative appeared a few feet away from the two. You must return to the tower. Minato pouted, but he awarded the agent with a brilliant smile. Of course. Thank you. He glanced at Kakashi. Looks like I win. No, you didn't. It's a tie. Yup, it's my victory. I'll see you at 6 for dinner, Kakashi. The ANBU agent and Hokage vanished. The copynin resisted the urge to sigh. Looks like he didn't have a choice. Kakashi showed up 15 minutes late. Normally, he'd be even later, but the thought of eating actual dinner with his not-dead sensei had made him admittedly excited. He couldn't even remember the last time he had eaten a proper dinner at all. Sometime before the war, probably. Yo! Said Kakashi cheerfully as he pushed the door open. The wards glowed a welcoming blue as they accepted his presence. After taking off his shoes, he walked to the living room to greet a surprised Minato. Kakashi! You're early. What do you mean? I thought dinner started at 6. Minato rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. You see. I actually planned to start dinner at 7. Since you're usually late, he awkwardly trailed off. Kakashi was about to respond when a yellow something slammed into him. Kashi and I, said the culprit. Kakashi stiffened and stared at the boy hugging him. And Naruto? Kakashi replied hesitantly. Big blue eyes looked up at him. Duh! Who did you think I was? Kakashi grinned and ruffled Naruto's hair, ignoring the blonde's protests. He hadn't seen the boy this carefree and innocent in a long time. Well, he hadn't seen Naruto this young in a long time either, but that was beside the point. It's good to see you again, he said warmly. I missed you. Naruto frowned at him, suspicious. What got into you? If it isn't the other brat, said a booming voice. Kakashi started, and then gawked at the two people walking towards him. Jiraiya and Tsunade dropped by, so I invited them over for dinner too, explained Minato. How are you, kid? Jiraiya asked, coming closer. He reached over to pat Kakashi on the back and was surprised when the silver-haired shinobi didn't move out of the way. Jiraiya was further surprised when Kakashi simply stared at both the Sannin. What? How is this possible? Jiraiya, Tsunade, what? Why are they married and alive? Jiraiya glanced around nervously. Did I break him? That seemed to snap Kakashi out of his daze. Oh right, alternate dimension. Deep breaths, Kakashi. Don't lose it here, Jiraiya-sama. I'm glad you stopped by, said Kakashi sincerely, a genuine smile on his face. Jiraiya was still alive. The Toad Sannin was still alive. The Ika series wasn't cancelled anymore. Jiraiya's eyes widened and he stepped back. Kakashi turned to Tsunade, also bestowing her with a smile. Tsunade-sama, he greeted her with respect in his eyes that hadn't been there before. The copy nin tilted his head with deference. I hope you're well. Tsunade looked vaguely disturbed. Kakashi didn't realize it until later, but he was treating Tsunade like the Hokage she'd been in his world. After working under her, he'd gained immense respect for her incredible talent and power, and fists. He couldn't help but let it show through after years of service, and living in fear of being punched through the wall. When Kakashi's happy grin didn't disappear after a few minutes, Tsunade stepped forward, hands glowing green. She attempted to press it to his forehead, but the silver-haired man reeled backwards, out of her reach. Strange. It was almost like he had experience in dodging her hands. Kakashi, are you all right? Asked the medic nin. You seem a bit, she eyed the dopey smile odd. Minato laughed uncomfortably, also examining his student. Kakashi seemed happier than he'd been in a long time. That wasn't a bad thing, it was just scary. Extremely scary. A happy Kakashi was Minato had never really seen an openly happy Kakashi. He suppressed a shiver. The next 45 minutes passed quickly with conversation. On the surface, the atmosphere seemed cheerful, but in reality, everyone except Naruto and Kakashi were on edge. Every few seconds, Minato, Jiraiya, and Tsunade would shoot Kakashi looks. Kakashi, for his part, ignored it. He knew that the other three ninja were extremely tense and rather troubled by his behavior, but he was too busy enjoying the moment. Besides, it was far too much fun to mess with the three legendary ninja. The doorbell rang, interrupting their conversation. That must be our last guests, said Minato, hurrying to the door and opening it. Hello? Kakashi froze as the four people entered. Hell no. He was going to kill Minato. Fugaku-san, how are you doing? The main family of the Uchiha clan walked in. Sasuke! Naruto shouted, barreling towards the dark-headed child. You came. Course I did, muttered Sasuke, sidestepping. Told you I was coming to dinner. Wow. Kakashi blinked in bemusement. Sasuke had spoken in nearly complete sentences without angst. This dimension really was different. Well, considering that his entire family hadn't been murdered, Kakashi was jolted out of his introspection by a frigid voice. Hataki-san, said Fugaku, barely nodding. Kakashi inclined his head just so. Uchihadano. The murmured conversation screeched to a halt as everyone turned to stare. Kakashi bit back a groan. Did he commit another faux pas again? Fugaku looked even paler, and Kakashi hadn't even thought that possible. He'd made a big mistake then. Alright, stuttered Minato. Let's go eat. The yondaime practically shoved his guests into the dining room, forcing them into their seats. The rest of dinner was an interesting affair. Fugaku had joined the list of people who are paranoid about Hatake Kakashi and was politely glaring at Kakashi with narrowed eyes. Jiraiya was trying too hard to be funny, and Tsunade looked like she was about to punch someone, namely Jiraiya. Minato did his best to be a good host, but his aura practically screamed discomfort. Itachi stared at Kakashi as if he was a particularly difficult puzzle, and Kakashi stared at everyone except Itachi. Mikoto simply observed her daughter, an odd expression on her face. The only people who were remotely enjoying the dinner were the arguing and oblivious Sasuke and Naruto. Kakashi sipped his water. Every so often, his eyes would flicker to his two former future students. It was heartwarming, really, to see Sasuke and Naruto interact without trying to literally murder each other. Kakashi's eye turned to Minato and the Sannin, who Kakashi still couldn't believe were alive. Softly, Kakashi smiled. Oh, he was still going to kill Minato for subjecting him to this mockery of a dinner, but Kakashi was glad he still had the opportunity to do so. Kakashi lounged on the couch, barely focusing on the game. Once the Uchiha left after politely declining Minato's invitation to play cards, the two Sannin, the Hokage, and Kakashi had begun a game of poker. Naruto was fast asleep, of course. Minato would kill anyone who exposed his darling child to gambling so early. Kakashi mused over the differences between his world and this one. Kushina had always been close to Mikoto, and although Fugaku and Minato hadn't been friends, they had always been cordial. Minato's continued Hokage-ship had probably prevented the attempted coup and the subsequent massacre, but Danzo would undoubtedly to discredit Uchiha in some other way, and soon, the Uchiha's reputation, though better than before, wasn't exactly good. It was time to pay that slimy, filthy, piece of shit bastard. Kakashi? The other three ninja were looking at him oddly, and Kakashi realized that he had been releasing killing intent. Kakashi rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Yeah? It's my turn, isn't it? No, replied Minato slowly, it's Jiraiya's. I knew that. Kakashi glanced at his cards, and then back up. Oh, Jiraiya-sama, he said suddenly. Yeah? Jiraiya was staring at him like he was a faulty explosive tag, liable to blow any minute. How long are you staying in Konoha? The Toad Sannin's eyes narrowed. A few weeks. Why? Do I need reason to ask? Kakashi's eye crinkled as he began his flattery. I just wanted to visit you, of course. You are the great Toad Sannin, the legendary pervy sage, creator of the peerless Aika Aika, my father's best friend, and my sensei's sensei. So, Tsunade's sake bottle crashed onto the floor. Minato paled. Jiraiya's jaw dropped. What happened? Kakashi's eye widened and he barely managed to hold back a curse. Oh right. I'm still supposed to be angsty about my father. Shit. It's kind of hard to hold a grudge after dying, having a heart-to-heart with chakra ghost of your dead father, and coming back from the grave. Had being around friends, family, really, made him lower his guard so much? Sloppy work, Kakashi. Weren't you supposed to be good at infiltration missions? Jiraiya stood up. Alright, brat. Now I know I haven't seen you in a while, but I am pretty damn sure this isn't normal. What the hell is wrong with you? Kakashi drew upon every ninja technique he knew to remain outwardly calm. Fuck. I really hope they don't think I'm a spy or anything. Imagine the utter disaster that would happen if the Yamanaka read my memories. Minato spoke, saving Kakashi from coming up with an excuse. I think I know what's going on. His former sensei's voice was serious, but his face had a hint of amusement. Well, what is it? Said Jiraiya impatiently. Kakashi's having girl problems. Minato smiled, entirely too smug. Kakashi stared. What? Girl problems? Where the fuck did that come from? That was the stupidest explanation ever. Why was that the first reason Minato thought of? Kakashi glanced at Jiraiya. Well, considering that Jiraiya had been Minato's teacher, actually, that explained a lot. Jiraiya waggled his eyebrows. Oh? Really? Think about it. Kakashi started acting weird after he was discharged from the hospital. In fact, his really strange behavior didn't start until after I had a conversation about a certain girl with him. Minato smiled, expression almost wistful. We all know how love can make people act crazy. I remember when I first asked Kushina out. I was shaking so much that Kushina thought I was having a seizure. To be young and in love. Yeah? So, who's the girl? Jiraiya's eyebrows waggled again. Uchiha Itachi, answered Minato. You know, thought Kakashi dryly, it's really interesting how they're deciding my love life without asking me. Jiraiya laughed uproariously. So that's why you were being so nice to me. Needed help from the love guru, eh? Minato wisely nodded. It also explains why you were so polite to Uchiha-san. You were trying to get into her father's good graces, weren't you? Though it's a bit late for that. You've called Fugaku by his first name for years. I don't think changing that now will make much of a difference, admitted Minato. You've got pretty good taste, brat. Jiraiya grinned lecherously. Itachi-chan doesn't have much in the boob department, but her legs. Tsunade whacked him on the head before Jiraiya could continue. Kakashi sighed. After exchanging a look of mutual sympathy with Tsunade that very clearly said we are surrounded by idiots, he decided to call it a night. It was nice being with his family, though they weren't really his. But he really had to go break into Danzo's office now, and he didn't want to be late. That would be terribly rude. Chapter 3. Teleporting the trees. Breaking into Danzo's super-secret hidden facilities wasn't as easy as he expected. Kakashi blamed it on the stupid inconsistencies between dimensions. Among other things, locations had changed. The changes weren't very big, but they were definitely large enough to be noticeable and annoying. Kakashi's perfect geographic sense of Konoha had turned into a "that place is probably somewhere around here" sort of feeling. He'd still been able to locate places without difficulty thanks to his heightened senses. But apparently that didn't cut it when tracking down a covert organization that had hid from both Hokages since the Third War. Kakashi had still found it, of course. He'd been in ANBU's tracking and retrieval squad for years. He certainly didn't need memories from another dimension to find an illegal organization that brainwashed children. After breaking and entering several times, Kakashi finally discovered Root's main base. The copy Nin eyed the wards with disappointment, analyzing them with the Sharingan. He'd expected better than this. Really, they didn't even pose a challenge. Kakashi bit his thumb and began scrawling a counterseal on the wall. He wasn't Jiraiya or Minato, who could probably deactivate all the protections by looking at them, but Kakashi knew his way around seals. Once he finished, Kakashi slapped his hand on the wall. "Release," he muttered, sending chakra into the symbols. His blood shone blue and vanished. Satisfied, Kakashi opened the door. Chakra pulsed outwards the second his hand touched the handle. Damn it. Looks like I forgot to deactivate the tertiary warning signal embedded in the silencing matrix. Ah well. This is Danzo's personal office, and that pulse was keyed for Danzo's signature only. I have about 2 minutes before that bastard barges in. That should be enough time. Sadly, Kakashi had underestimated Danzo's paranoia. Everything was quadruple sealed and attuned to only Danzo. Jiraiya or Minato might be able to break them, given enough time, but there was no way Kakashi could do it with only 2 minutes and his own blood. Shit, growled Kakashi, grabbing a handful of hopefully incriminating scrolls. Why did Danzo have to be competent? I wondered who was audacious and skilled enough to break into my office, said a voice behind him. Kakashi turned around to see the man himself. Danzo. That filthy mother fu. Wait, what? He stared at the still-talking man. Why was Danzo's hair pink? No, seriously, why was it pink? Immediately, he thought of the only other pink-haired person he knew, and a horrifying thought struck him. Were Danzo and Sakura related in this universe? Kakashi was suddenly struck by nausea and horror as his mind conjured up an image of a Sakura related to Danzo. Of a Sakura raised by Danzo. A Danzakura. Or was it a Sakuranzo? He shuddered, squeezing his eyes shut at the disturbing images. No. No. I see that you finally understand the gravitas of the situation, sneered Danzo. As you rightfully should. Of course, we can always come to an agreement. If you tell me who you are and who sent you, I may spare your life. I have a need for skilled shinobi. God damn it, was Danzo still monologuing? Didn't the man have anything better to do? Torture children, perhaps? All I require is, are you related to anyone? Interrupted Kakashi. Danzo blinked, then narrowed his eye. Are you trying to threaten my family? Anyone? Do you have any family at all? Children, siblings, nieces, etc.? How dare you? Danzo chuckled darkly. Trying to use my bonds against me, are you? I'm afraid you are sorely mistaken. Unlike most other weak Konoha nin, I have no use for pathetic ideals such as friendship and family. Even if there was anyone, I would not care if you killed them now. I would kill them myself if I needed. Great. A non-answer. Kakashi decided to make a run for it. He had more important things to do than listening to the ramblings of a psychopathic old man, like finding the paternity of a certain pink-haired kunoichi, for example. Scrolls in hand, Kakashi dashed past Danzo with a burst of chakra, twisting to avoid the wind-release ninjutsu flying his way. He wasn't fast enough to completely dodge the kunai that followed, for missed, but the fifth grazed his arm just before he flickered away. He gritted his teeth and leaped past the swarm of root ANBU in the passageways, barely making it to the exit. As he fled the underground base, Kakashi's mind whirred 1,000 miles a minute. The kunai was definitely poisoned. He couldn't run back to his house, or the ANBU would learn his identity despite his henge, but hiding somewhere obscure was just asking Root to kill him and dump his body in the river. So, he hid in the last place anyone would ever look for a wounded shinobi, the hospital. After leaving several false trails for the Root to chase after, Kakashi silently crawled through the windows of the worst place in Konoha. He, appropriated some medical-grade sealing ink and paper before slipping into the supply closet. Kakashi created a few rudimentary wards for protection before starting on another, more intricate one. He sure as hell wasn't going to actually get treated in the hospital. Other than being an evil, soul-sucking dungeon, hospitals also left paper trails. The kind that created a giant neon "Kill me, I'm here" sign. He could manage the poison well enough on his own. Frowning, Kakashi added the finishing touch to a modified version of the evil sealing method. Instead of holding back a chakra curse, it suspended and nullified the effect of poison. Fittingly, it was known as the poison sealing method. Clenching his jaw, Kakashi placed the seal over his wound and activated it. He hunched over with the excruciating pain caused by the seal but relaxed when the pain and poison faded from his body. Much better, he thought. Satisfied and exhausted, Kakashi closed his eyes and went to sleep. Nurse Fumiko hurried down the hallway, looking for a mop. Another damn shinobi had crashed through the window, leaving blood all over the floor. Being the newbie, Fumiko had been sent to clean it up. After a few minutes of searching, the nurse finally located the supply closet. She reached out to open it, and yelped as the door swung upon of its own accord. Fumiko shrieked when she noticed a man inside it. The masked man's eye snapped open. "Yo," he said cheerfully. Without another word, the ninja vanished. The nurse almost cried when she noticed the incredibly expensive medical sealing equipment strewn across the floor. Damn shinobi. Kakashi stretched in front of the training grounds, warming up his muscles. Today, he was going to do something ridiculously reckless and stupid, so nothing new then. Kakashi lifted up his hide, exposing Obito's eye. It was time to activate the Mangekyo Sharingan. He closed both eyes. While sending a gentle pulse of chakra to the Sharingan, he began to think of everyone he'd ever failed. The list ran long, much too long. He thought of Obito, Sensei, Kushina, his father, Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Rin. His mind replayed the memory of her death in perfect clarity, the moment forever immortalized. The pressure built behind Obito's eye as it throbbed with remembered pain. He recalled the overwhelming weight of despair, the tears streaming down her lovely face, the sound of 1,000 birds screaming. His eyes snapped open. "Mangekyo Sharingan," he whispered. The world around him shattered. The shards coalesced, and Kakashi viewed the world in flawless detail. He could see the fabric of space and time and the shadows of the other dimensions acting on it. He viewed everything in an almost detached state, separate but connected. He glanced down at his feet, and his breath caught at the incredible darkness twisting around his presence. Kakashi did not belong here. Resolute, he stared at the tree in front of him. First, he'd start small. Kakashi should be able to teleport the stationary, solid object. Kamui. The world warped and twisted, and Kakashi felt the sense of finality that always accompanied the use of that technique. A single tear of blood slid down his cheek. The tree hadn't moved. "What?" he muttered. Then, the chakra drain hit him like a gigantic frog, and he collapsed. "Kid, what the hell did you do?" Kakashi awakened to see Jiraiya glaring at him. "You're alive," he said numbly. "Obviously." The toad sage huffed in confused irritation. Kakashi flinched as a fist crashed the nightstand next to his face. "Brat," growled a familiar voice. A very angry Mednin stared him down. "Tsunade-sama?" Kakashi asked. "Did I complete my mission? Did I die? Why the fuck are you asking me?" Tsunade clenched her fist, and the mangled stand fell apart further. "But that's not important now. The important question is why you suddenly collapsed of chakra exhaustion in the middle of a training field, and why you attempted a poison seal with no supervision on yourself. How did you get poisoned in the first place, anyway? It's excellent sealing work, though. I see you used the evil sealing method as the base and added a spiral to help with the suppression. Seriously, when did you get this good?" commented Jiraiya. "I didn't know you used this style." The older man winced at Tsunade's look and nodded to a small frog that promptly disappeared. Tsunade placed her glowing green hands on Kakashi's forehead. "Interesting," she murmured. "Idiot, when did your chakra become so imbalanced?" Kakashi stiffened almost imperceptibly. What do you mean? Don't even try to lie. Your yin chakra outweighs your yang chakra 2 to 1. That's news to me. Tsunade smacked him. I told you not to lie to me. Kakashi rubbed his head and sighed. I noticed it a few days ago. I was patrolling on the roof when suddenly everything changed. I thought I was trapped in a genjutsu, so I tried to dispel it. It's been like that ever since. There. Technically not a lie. The medanine eyes narrowed slightly. Strange. Kakashi. Minato appeared by his bedside. I came as fast as I could. The blonde man grabbed Kakashi's shoulders. Don't scare me like that. This is the second time you've collapsed this week. And when I heard about the poison, Kashi, your lucky Tsunade was here. Don't do that again, you understand? Sure, agreed Kakashi, lying blatantly. I was just a little careless in testing out a new technique. Minato frowned. What technique caused you to lose all your chakra? Said his sensei, voice deathly serious. It wouldn't happen to be the same one that caused the western half of the forest in Training Field 3 to go missing, is it? Kakashi blinked. The western half of the forest was missing? Wait, the western half of the forest was missing? He'd been facing the east. Damn, he had terrible aim. He tried to use Kamui on a tree in the eastern half, and instead he'd wiped out the entire western half. No wonder he fainted from chakra exhaustion. Kakashi's eyes widened as the realization struck. Holy fuck, I have a forest in my eyeball. Didn't I tell you how much paperwork blowing up the training fields causes? And the trees. You destroyed all the trees. Do you know how long it takes to regrow them? The masked ninja shrugged. Just bribe Tenzo. He quickly changed the subject before any more questions followed. Sensei, I have something for you. Kakashi reached into his vest and pulled out a storage scroll. He deftly opened the scroll, and with a puff of smoke, 5 more scrolls fell out. Tada! He said brightly. What do you think? Jiraiya and Minato examined the scrolls with growing disbelief. The Sannin whistled in appreciation, while Minato just stared. There's at least 7 interlocking matrices and trigrams. Minato's forehead wrinkled with disbelief. It's codified for a particular signature, and set to self-destruct if anyone tampers with it. He looked at Kakashi. How did you get this? I stole it, he said nonchalantly. From where? Asked Jiraiya, eyes still on the scrolls. From Danzo's office. The other 3 choked. What? There's probably something incriminating in there. Kakashi paused. Oh, do you know if Danzo has any relatives? Jiraiya, still recovering from the last bombshell, answered slowly. Not that I know of. Most of his family died during the war. He mused. Guess I'll have to do a DNA test. On who? Kakashi didn't reply. He attempted to get out of bed, but a firm hand pushed him back down. You're not going anywhere, said Tsunade sternly. Sleep, brat. Kakashi's eyes closed before she finished speaking. 3 days later, Tsunade had finally cleared him for active duty. Kakashi suspected that she had kept him for 2 days more than necessary to study his chakra imbalance. Now that he was out and walking the streets, Kakashi noticed something very peculiar. People were staring at him. That wasn't too unusual, considering that he was a notorious ninja who read porn in daylight, but something seemed off. You lucky bastard, said Rado as he caught up with the interdimensional copy Nin. What do you mean? Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Itachi, his friend said bluntly. That's what I mean. Kakashi forced his voice to remain casual. What about Itachi? Playing dumb, huh? Don't try to hide it. Rado scoffed and crossed his arms. Everyone already knows that you're dating Itachi. The silver-haired shinobi stopped in the middle of the street. What? He said flatly. Honestly, you have to tell me how someone with the social skills of a deformed toothpick managed to snag one of the hottest girls in Konoha. And a clan heiress, too. The Uchiha clan heiress. I swear it's the mask. Chicks dig that mystery deal, right? Kakashi closed his eye. I am not dating Itachi. Sure you aren't, drawled Rado. But good luck with convincing her father about your relationship. I don't think that'll go well at all. Before you try, be sure to let me know. I want to see old Fugaku's reaction. The Tokubetsu Jounin cackled. If you die, can I have your kunai collection? Kakashi vanished before Rado could say another word. Wonderful, he thought sourly, hiding in his favorite tree. So that's what was wrong. Everyone thinks that female Itachi and I are a thing. Which we're not, by the way. Kakashi growled with irritation. I need to go kill someone. Preferably the someone who spread the rumors. So, Jiraiya? While he plotted Jiraiya's demise, but not death, because that would mean no Aika Aika, A sound suddenly broke his train of thought. Who would be stupid enough to disturb him? Kakashi wasn't hiding, per se. He was simply sitting in his tree, sending out very, very strong approach me and you will die vibes. Kakashi looked up to see Sasuke? What the hell was an 11-year-old Sasuke doing here? He stared at the pale and shaking preteen with bemusement. Hatake Kakashi, said Sasuke, voice quaking ever so slightly. Kakashi of the Sharingan, copy Nin of Konoha, student of the Yondaime. I challenge you, the fuck? Why was a non-angsty Sasuke challenging him? Well, why? Replied Kakashi after blankly looking off into space. Sasuke bristled. I know you're Naruto's Nai-san, but I can't let this stand. Let what stand? He leaped down smoothly, causing the mini Uchiha to flinch. Kakashi hid a grin. His little future/past student was adorable. And yes, he was talking about Sasuke. He never knew that it was possible to actually describe Sasuke as cute if you weren't a preteen girl. I cannot allow you to tarnish my sister's honor, he shouted boldly. All of Kakashi's brain activity froze for a moment. Oh God. Was this happening? Was this actually happening? Was Sasuke defending Itachi's virtue? Kakashi tried to stifle the hysterical giggles that threatened to burst out of him. Once he got back to his dimension, he was telling everyone about this. Everyone. Kakashi wondered if he should use his Sharingan to record this priceless moment. He'd always suspected Sasuke of having a brother complex before the other Itachi's murderous rampage, but this. Only someone really strong is worthy of my sister, continued Sasuke. Itachi deserves the best. I must become strong to protect my sister from perverts like you. If that wasn't a sister complex, then he didn't know what that was. Kakashi's shoulders began shaking with suppressed laughter. You better be scared, sniffed Sasuke. Because I'm going to destroy you. Honestly, why did people always suspect him of being scared? He was Hatake Kakashi. He didn't do scared. Hey brat, said Kakashi, snapping his book shut. Sasuke tensed in anticipation. The Jounin narrowed his eye. Aren't you supposed to be at the academy? The Uchiha kid froze. That's what I thought. Kakashi smiled with satisfaction. Playing hooky, huh? Quick enough to rival Minato, Kakashi dashed forward and grabbed Sasuke by the abnormally stiff collar. Why don't I drop you back in school? A strong shinobi can't neglect their education. No! Sasuke wiggled around, trying to twist out of his grip. Let me go, oh? You don't want to go to the academy? Kakashi grin grew maniacal. Should I drop you off at the clan compound? Sasuke immediately imitated a ramen noodle. Please don't, he whispered, absolutely still. I'm sure your mother would love to hear what you've been up to. No! Sasuke trailed off. You're what? The boy gritted his teeth. I'm sorry, okay? Glad to hear that. The grin didn't fade. I'll just hand you off to your teacher then. But, let's go. Kakashi and his cargo vanished with a swirl of leaves. Education is important, after all. Chapter 4, Tying Stuff to Trees. Alternate title. There are actually no snakes in this chapter. Another alternate title, Attack of the Fangirls. Senpai, why are you stalking a civilian girl? Kakashi looked up and sent a scathing glare in the younger man's direction. I am not stalking her. He paused. And technically, she isn't a civilian. She attends the academy, you know. Academy students are still civilians, senpai. They're only considered shinobi after they become genin. Kakashi coughed. Details? He waved his hand dismissively. Tenzo tapped his chin thoughtfully. Normally, he wouldn't dare tease Kakashi-senpai, but Tenzo was a bit irritated at the moment. The Yondaime had forced him to regrow the half of the forest because somebody had blown it up using an unknown jutsu. This doesn't have anything to do with Itachi Taicho, does it? The Mokuton user's eyes widened in mock horror. You aren't cheating on. A blast of unadulterated killing intent slammed into Tenzo, making him whimper. He tried to cover the unmanly sound with a cough, but he only succeeded in imitating a dying cat. What did you say? Asked Kakashi in a sickly sweet whisper. Nothing. Tenzo whimpered again. Good. Kakashi returned to his observations of a certain pink-haired girl. Anyway, why are you here, Kakashi-sama? Shut up, Tenzo. Your speaking privileges have been revoked. Tenzo immediately closed his mouth, deciding not to risk it any further. He liked his life, thank you very much. Kakashi frowned as he mentally compared the two shades of pink for the 32nd time. No matter how many times he did it, Kakashi always reached the same conclusion. Danzo and Sakura had the exact same hair color. And that was very bad. He'd have to procure a DNA sample from the girl. and do it in a non-creepy way. The first part was easy enough, but the second was more difficult. He couldn't very well sneak into her bedroom and steal her hairbrush without being called a pervert, could he? He grimaced. Even the phrase procuring a DNA sample sounded perverted and extremely creepy. Shivering, Kakashi wondered about the implications. A Sakura with Danzo DNA would probably have major self-esteem issues, a tendency towards extreme anger, and an obsession with the Uchiha. That didn't sound too different, actually. Kakashi made a mental note to look up original Sakura's parents. His dimension Sakura might have some extra, really fucking scary, dead relatives. On a slightly more positive note, Kakashi may have finally discovered where the girl's preoccupation with Sasuke had come from. Of course, that suddenly made Sakura's fangirling much more sinister. Kakashi stood up suddenly and stretched, startling an extremely tense Tenzo. Senpai-sama, where are you going? Senpai-sama, mused Kakashi. I like that. He gave a grin that made the younger man quail. Don't worry. I'm just going to talk to Naruto. The copy Nin disappeared in a puff of smoke. Tenzo stared. The Hokage definitely needs to know about this. I hate fangirls, grumbled Sasuke. The Uchiha and his friend were sitting under a tree in the academy grounds, wallowing in their misery. Me too. Naruto gave a dramatic moan. They always stalk me cause I'm the Hokage's son. It's so annoying. When I become Hokage, I'm gonna ban fangirls. Believe it, Sasuke gave him an unimpressed look. Why don't you just ask your father to ban them now? Cause that would be cheating. Duh. Naruto brightened. They do get me lots of ramen though. That's nice of them. Right, Sasuke rolled his eyes. Well, they do give me tomatoes sometimes, he muttered. But then they try to tear my clothes off, so it doesn't count. A gigantic burst of smoke caused both kids to shriek. Oh? Crooned Kakashi, smiling. Are the icky little kiddies having trouble with fangirls? Naruto has fangirls. Again, this dimension is fucking weird. Actually, does Hinata count as a fangirl? She never actually had a conversation with Naruto before her confession, now that I think about it. What do you want? Sasuke glared at the silver-haired man, almost growling in irritation. Kashi and I. What are you doing here? I'm here to help. Naruto peered suspiciously. Help with what? With your fangirl problem, of course. If you do me a tiny favor, I'll teach you a technique to get rid of them. How would you know how to get rid of fangirls? Sasuke sneered. When I was in the academy, I had my fair share of them. I picked up a few tricks, and I guarantee their effectiveness. Kakashi smiled innocently. Well, what's the favor, Anai-san? Asked Naruto, looking hopeful. I need you to obtain a hair sample from a girl named Haruno Sakura. Think you can manage that? Sasuke and Naruto blinked. Sakura-chan? The blonde tilted his head. I know her. But... He glanced hesitantly at Sasuke. She's my worst fangirl, whispered a pale Sasuke. She stalks me. She stares at me. And she compliments my eyes. Every single day. Sasuke-kun, your eyes are so pretty. Can I have them? I want my kids to have your eyes. Please, Sasuke-kun? The Uchiha curled into a ball, looking rather terrified. They're my eyes. They're mine, comforted Naruto. You're fine. Sakura's not here right now. You're safe. Holy shit, thought Kakashi. Sasuke's been traumatized by Sakuranzo. Well, Kakashi coughed, awkwardly cutting in. Since Sakura's your fangirl, it should be pretty easy to get that hair. Sasuke slowly looked up. Will your technique keep her away from me forever? A strange gleam came into Kakashi's eye. Of course. Then I'll do it, he said fiercely. Anything to keep her away. Anything. With horror, Kakashi realized that in this universe, Itachi, Sasuke's driving force and motivation, had been replaced by Sakura. He shook the disturbing thought away. Anyway, this is what I need you to do. Sasuke and Naruto observed their target from a safe distance. Are you sure you want to do this? Asked Naruto, whispering. I can take your place. Sasuke shook his head. No. I have the best chance of completing this mission. We have to learn that technique. If you say so. Good luck, Sasuke. He thumped his friend on the back. Sasuke took a deep, steadying breath, and walked into the enemy's camp. Sasuke-kun! Oh my gosh, it's Sasuke! Thank you so much! Oh, Sasuke-kun! Silence. The fangirls' chatter abruptly stopped when their supreme leader stepped out. The pink-haired menace snapped her fingers, and all the girls fell into a triangular formation. Hello, Sasuke-kun? Haruno Sakura smiled sweetly at her future conquest. How good to see you. She turned to her fangirls and abruptly barked, "Bento!" With perfect coordination, the girls all whipped out a bento box, kneeling as they offered it to their forever love. Slightly pale, Sasuke responded. "Hello, Harino-san," the head girl giggled. You can just call me Sakura-chan." She flipped her hair coyly. "Did you need something, Sasuke-kun? Would you like a bento?" He took another deep breath. "Actually, I have a request. Could I have—" Sasuke tried to think of a better way to format his question, but failed. "Could I have a few pieces of your hair?" Sakura's eyes widened. "Of course. You can have all of it, if you want." She grabbed a kunai, prepared to chop her hair off. "No!" he yelped, staring at her with ill-disguised fear. "Just the 2 or 3 strands will do." Without any hesitation, Sakura plucked 4 strands of her hair and handed it to Sasuke. "Is the exchanging of hair an Uchiha mating ritual?" she breathed, sending twitters of excitement through the crowd. Sasuke almost hyperventilated as the fangirls came closer. "Circle formation!" shouted Sakura. Like a well-oiled machine, the fangirls surrounded Sasuke. The Uchiha closed his eyes as he felt death loom closer. "Sasuke!" An army of clone Narutos charged the opposing girls. "I'll save you! Pincer attack, now!" Blonde enemy at 3 o'clock. The fangirl regiment collided with the clones, and a vicious battle over Sasuke's body began. "Sasuke!" muttered a voice behind the captive. The dark-haired boy turned around to see his best friend crouched behind him. "Run! After him!" shrieked Sakura, pointing at the fugitives. The 2 boys fled, barely managing to avoid the battalion chasing after them. Once they had escaped, Naruto and Sasuke collapsed behind a tree, panting. Naruto closed his eyes and shuddered. "Damn, Sasuke. Your fangirls are scary. At least my fangirls just blush, stammer, and get me food." Naruto shook his head slowly. "Yours have an army," Sasuke grunted. Naruto stood abruptly. "So, did you get the hair?" the other boy glared. "Of course I did." He held up the samples. "I almost died getting them. This technique better be worth it." "Don't worry, it's worth it." Kakashi patted the boys on their heads, startling them and somehow managing to grab the pink strands at the same time. "Thanks, boys. No problem, Nai-chan," chirped Naruto, beaming at the best older brother ever, even if he always did the hair-ruffling thing. Sasuke scowled with barely hidden rage, still upset over the older man's pursuit of Itachi. "What's the technique?" growled Sasuke, patience thinning. He was only tolerating Kakashi because of Naruto and the supposed fangirl deterrent the Jonin had promised to teach. "It's simple." A dangerous gleam appeared in Kakashi's eye. "Its name is, kill it with fire." After teaching the kids the new technique, Kakashi made a suitably dramatic exit. Sasuke relaxed slightly, now that the evil sister poacher had disappeared. Naruto, on the other hand, looked pensive. "Sasuke?" asked Naruto, frowning. "Yes? Why do you think Kakashi and I needed the hair?" The two stared at each other. "I don't know." Sasuke looked a bit disturbed. "We never really asked?" Naruto frowned. "Well, Kakashi and I is a pervert, but I don't think he likes Sakura. He likes your sister, right?" "What?" Sasuke blinked. "Wait, you know about that?" The blonde rolled his eyes. "I'm not stupid. Everyone's been talking about it." "Of course I know." He grinned brightly. "Isn't it great? If Kakashi and I and your sister get married, then we'll actually be brothers." "It's not great!" shrieked Sasuke. He regained control of his emotions and continued. "Besides, he's not really your brother." Naruto looked affronted. "Of course he is. Dad adopted Nai-san ages ago." "Whatever." Sasuke abruptly changed the subject, unwilling to think about his sister in a relationship. "I'm going to try the new technique on those fangirls." He walked away, ignoring Naruto. No one could date his sister. No one. "Come on, Sasuke. Don't start pouting and brooding." "I do not pout or brood." "Yeah, you do. You're quiet," hissed Sasuke, pulling Naruto aside. "It's her." Naruto said nothing, eyes widening as he noticed the pink-haired girl. Sasuke exchanged a look with his friend before stepping out from behind the tree. Naruto remained in hiding, prepared to back up his Sasuke if needed. "Sasuke-kun." Sakura smiled sweetly. Sasuke simply stepped forward, as grim as a soldier heading to war. "How are, Katon? Great fireball technique." Sakura yelped and ducked, barely avoiding the flames. She looked up at her crush, eyes sparkling. "Does the use of fire techniques complete the Uchiha courtship ritual?" The Uchiha responded by sending a few more fireballs at the girl, intent on burning the menace once and for all. Somehow, Sakura avoided all of them and giggled. Sasuke-kun, you're so enthusiastic. How sweet of you to set the academy on fire for me. Sasuke stopped as he realized that the flames had struck the school. Huh. You'd think that the ninja training school would be fireproof. Naruto summed up the situation succinctly, coming out from his hiding place to gawk at the spreading fire. Crap. Minato smiled at Kakashi. The Hokage's smile wasn't the friendly, cheerful one that he was known for. It wasn't the one that said, "Hi there, let's be friends and save the world." It wasn't even the one that said, "You have disappointed me, but I am smiling to cover up my sadness." It was the one that said, "I am going to fucking kill you, grind you to pieces, feed you to my frogs, and dance on your desecrated bones. And I will enjoy it." Kakashi, said Minato, voice oh so pleasant. "Why is my academy burned down? I can explain?" The slouching man edged away from his former sensei. "It better be a good explanation." Minato's smile grew wider. "So please do explain why you told my son and his best friend why it was alright to set fangirls on fire. It's effective? Konoha no longer has an academy anymore, thanks to you. It was time for a renovation anyway." Hatake Kakashi. Kakashi jumped out the window, breaking the glass. Nope. Nope. He could not deal with a furious sensei and still expect to stay alive. He flickered to a nearby tree and tied his hataite on a branch. His headgear probably had a Hyroshin seal on it, and Kakashi really didn't want Minato to teleport behind him and Rasengan his head off. Not waiting a moment longer, Kakashi fled the scene. "Kakashi? Ah, yes? Why are you in my house?" Kakashi gave a weak eye smile. "I needed to ask you something," Tsunade sighed. "Does this have anything to do with the academy fire?" "No." Kakashi reached into his vest and pulled out several hairs. "Could you do a DNA analysis on these?" The Sannin examined the follicles. "Whose hair is this?" "The shorter hairs belong to Danzo, while the longer ones belong to Sakuran's. Harino Sakura, an academy student." Tsunade's eyes widened in horror as she put two and two together. "You think Danzo has children?" She almost dropped the samples on the floor. Kakashi hummed non-committally. "Relatives, at least." He glanced at the hair in her hand. "Be careful with those. Do you know how difficult it was to get Sakura's hair?" "I'm more concerned with how you obtained Danzo's hair," commented the medic dryly. "Not telling," he replied in a sing-song voice. Kakashi heard a far-off explosion and winced. That sounded like his former teacher. Crap, he was running out of time. "Please, Tsunade-sama?" Tsunade sighed heavily. "Fine, brat. I'll do it, but only because I'm as curious as you are. Now get out of my house before Minato finds you. He is after you, right?" Thank you, Tsunade-sama." Kakashi escaped through the window again, landing silently in the alleyway. Mission accomplished. All he had to do now was avoid dying by Minato's hand. He could do it, probably. After several hours of hide-and-seek and kill, Kakashi ended up in front of the Hokage, tied to the chair. "Sensei, setting the entire ANBU after me isn't fair," accused Kakashi, miffed. "Hunting rogue ninja does fall under the ANBU's jurisdiction." Minato leaned back, lounging almost nonchalantly. "I am not a rogue ninja." The copy Nin viewed his sensei with apprehension. Why wasn't he angry? Shit. It looked like Minato had crossed over from "I will kill you" to "I have something worse than death for you." Perhaps. The Hokage tossed a scroll at him. "I suppose it's partially my fault for keeping you cooped up for so long. Tsunade has cleared you for active duty, so I've decided to assign you a mission." Kakashi carefully opened the scroll, half expecting a barrage of shuriken to fly out. After nothing happened, he quickly scanned the words and frowned. This is a B rank. An ordinary one. The mission was to eliminate bandits near the Fire Country border. Apparently, the group had been terrorizing citizens and kidnapping children. The mission was nothing unusual or new. And that's what scared him. Of course it's a B rank. You're recovering from a mysterious poison and chakra exhaustion. Did you really think I'd assign you something higher? Minato then mumbled something that sounded a lot like, "Though knowing you, it'll probably turn into an S-ranked or worse." Actually, Kakashi had expected a terrifying, mind-scarring mission in retaliation for burning the academy. He reread the scroll, trying to find the hidden danger. "Is there anything else I need to know?" "Nothing else. It's a perfectly normal mission." Minato grinned. "I'll see you in a few days." "If you say so, Hokage-sama." Kakashi hid a frown. Just what was Minato planning? After bowing professionally, Kakashi vanished. Minato's grin grew wider once his former student left. The mission actually was normal. But now that Kakashi was away from the village for a while, he could get his real revenge. Chuckling, Minato began to write a very important letter. Oh, this would be fun. Kakashi scouted the area with detached efficiency. These bandits weren't very good. He followed the trail they left, and soon found their base. From there, it was smooth sailing. A stab here, a stab there, and voila! Bandit shish kebab. He chuckled to himself. Ha! Funny! Shish kebab. See? He did have a sense of humor. He smiled at the 11 kids trapped in the cell. Wait, 11 kids? His information said 13 kids had been missing from the nearby villages. Did the other two? Kakashi's eyes widened with realization. Oh. They were near the land of sound, and Orochimaru was still around. His grin grew wider. Kakashi had finished the mission in just a day, 2 days ahead of schedule. Maybe he could do some reconnaissance after he returned the children. After his mission was completed, Kakashi headed towards the border. If he remembered correctly, Orochimaru had his lab, or somewhere around there. Damn this alternate dimension and its stupid alternate locations. Always making him do it the hard way. Biting his thumb, Kakashi completed the summoning. Pack and bull, he said, eye crinkling. The pug simply glared from his position on top of the bulldog. Boss, where have you been? Oh, nothing. I just broke into Danzo's place, stole some stuff, activated the Mangekyo Sharingan. Fuck, this list is too long. I'm not going to summarize the past week's events in my head. I've just been busy. You know how it is. No, I don't. I'm not you. Pack sighed. So, what do you want? Do you remember Orochimaru's scent? The snake creep is kind of hard to forget. Despite the casual words, both Packen and Bull tensed. I need you to track him down. Packen and Bull stared at him in silence. Okay, boss has finally cracked. It's about time, really. I'm not crazy. I just need you to find him so I can beat him up a little. Kakashi paused. Well, that does sound a bit crazy. But I'm not. You're not doing a good job of convincing me, grumbled Packen. Boss, did you forget about what happened the last time we fought against him? He's out of your league. Kakashi mentally scrolled through all his interactions, attempted murders, with the snake Sannin, trying to remember the meeting Packen was referring to. Oh, right. It was when Orochimaru had first betrayed the village. Kakashi, being the arrogant teenager he was, had attempted to arrest him. Of course, Kakashi had failed miserably. The creep had frozen him with just killing intent before gallivanting into the sunset to kidnap children. Don't worry, he said cheerfully. I'm much stronger now. Packen sighed again. It's your funeral, boss. No, I mean it's literally your funeral. I'll find him for you, but you better not die. I won't. Trust me. I've had enough dying for a long, long time. Seriously, being resurrected once is enough for me. But Orochimaru, on the other hand, yes, he deserves to die. Painfully. Multiple times. With a bark, Packen and Bull raced across the grass. Kakashi followed right behind them, a savage grin on his face. It was time for the snake freak to pay for his crimes, past and future. No one messed with his cute students and got away with it. Oh, this would be fun. Chapter 5, Fighting Among Trees. Alternate title, Kakashi electrocutes snakes, and Minato is suspicious. A smell similar to dead snakes permeated the air, almost making Kakashi gag. Thanks, he coughed to his nean dogs, thankful for the mask blotting out the smell. I can take it from here. Packen and Bull shot him simultaneous dubious looks. You want to face the snake Sannin by yourself? Yes? The pug muttered something that sounded an awful lot like goddamn fucking humans with cat shit for brains. Bark, bark, bark. I promise I won't die, Kakashi added unhelpfully. He sighed when his companions didn't budge. You both are dismissed. His last words had the hint of steel that marked it as an order, not a suggestion. Right. Packen sighed, and Bull whined. The next time you summon me, I'm going to bite your face off. Be prepared. That is, if you're not dead by then. With those kind parting words, the two dogs disappeared in a puff of smoke. Kakashi continued his travels through the thick forest, using his keen sense of smell to locate the snake Sannin. Really, they're overreacting. It's just Orochimaru. It's not like the creep's a mystical demon goddess with 3 freaky eyeballs and frequently reincarnating sons or something. He can't be that bad. Right, after a sequence of events involving a forest fire, cooked birds, and exploding ninjas, Kakashi found himself facing off against Orochimaru himself. Hello? The silver-haired ninja smiled, waving at a random tree as he stretched his senses to pinpoint the freaky snake zombie's location. The snake Sannin was currently trying to screw with his mind by creating terrifying traps and mind-numbing illusions, all while hiding away in this creepy forest. Ha, joke's on him. I lost my sanity ages ago, and this is nothing compared to the Tsukiyomi. Well, what an honor it is to meet the Yandame's dog again, hissed a voice, somehow coming from everywhere. I've always been rather fond of mutts, and small children, added Kakashi, keeping a wary eye out for the missing Nin. Wait, seriously? They also call me the Yandame's dog? Come on, Sharingan no Kakashi is much better. Oh, you like dogs? The dimensional traveler replied, distracted by the really stupid name. I didn't realize that. Kunai in hand, Kakashi tensed slightly as a shadowy figure appeared before him. He barely hid his apprehension as he wondered how this dimension's Orochimaru was. There was no way the snake Sannin could be creepier than Sakuranzo and Pink Danzo. Right, the missing Nin stepped out of the shadows. What, Orochimaru was? You're normal! Exclaimed Kakashi with relief. The body-stealing murderer looked exactly like the one from his dimension. No unusual hair, no gender changes, nothing was different. Orochimaru stared at him. Kakashi stared back. I have been called many things before, Orochimaru said, a hint of bemusement entering his tone, but I do not think normal was one of them. Yeah, well. Kakashi trailed off awkwardly. Crap, had he really just called Orochimaru normal? He was pretty sure that Orochimaru was the exact opposite of normal. As in, literally the furthest you could go from normal. If you looked in the dictionary for normal, not Orochimaru was the definition. The snake Sannin slowly smiled as he released an incredible amount of killing intent. Now, what is your purpose here? Did the Yandame send you? The atmosphere itself warped under the pressure, distorting the trees around them. The force exerted was enough to make the average Jonin completely lose his composure, and was more than twice the amount that teenage Kakashi had faced before. Kakashi blinked at the other man and simply laughed. That's it, he said, still chuckling. You truly wound me in your estimation. Please take me seriously. I won't be able to enjoy this if you don't. And I really want to enjoy this. The copy Nin stepped forward almost casually. Compared to the presence of Madara, the zombie Kages, Kagaya the demon lady, hell, even cubified Naruto, this was nothing. Damn, my life is fucked up. Kakashi ignored the wayward thought and took one more step, summoning his Raikiri. Honestly, it irked him to be underestimated so much. Normally, being underestimated was a good thing. Many enemies had died because they thought he was beneath their notice, but that didn't apply here. This was personal. Orochimaru had screwed with his precious students, mentally and physically. He was going to eke out every last bit of pain from the creep. Sure, revenge was bad and destructive. Frankly, Kakashi didn't care. With the Sharingan open and activated, he grinned. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes at the silver-haired ninja. He had seen many reactions to his killing intent, but never laughter. The Yandame student had always treated to him with caution and perhaps even fear, but not disdain. Suddenly curious, Orochimaru's pupils dilated with the pleasure of a new puzzle. With quick efficiency, Kakashi sent a shower of shuriken at his opponent. Alright, this is just insulting. That's obviously not Orochimaru. The Snake Sannin had sent a clone out to battle with him, and not even one that fought at full strength. Clone Orochimaru had started laughably incompetent, but was slowly increasing the intensity of his attacks as battle went on. Is he testing me? How annoying. Kakashi ignored the clone's all too obvious opening, instead choosing to force his enemy back with a combo water lightning move. It was one he had developed during the war, and one that Naruto had dubbed Super Sparky Rain Blast Jutsu. Intriguing, hissed the fake Sannin, nimbly avoiding the attack. The clone was barely fighting at 20% of Orochimaru's power, and Kakashi planned to use that to his advantage. With a burst of speed, Kakashi pinned the fake to the wall, hand crackling with concentrated chakra as he pulled back for the final move. It would have never worked on the real Orochimaru, of course, but it was effective on the weaker clone. How fitting. The doppelganger sighed, sadness marring its pale face. My death will be at the hands of a Konoha ninja, a shinobi from the very village I tarred my reputation to defend. Kakashi blinked at the snake's words, and his eyes narrowed slightly as he tightened his grip on his opponent. What are you talking about? Why, I only attacked the Hyuga because the Hokage asked me to. Creepy-ass golden eyes filled with sorrow, Orochimaru gazed into the copy nin's mismatched pair. Kakashi held back a shudder as the snake persisted in speaking. I thought I would confess the truth to the shinobi who killed me, but I never expected it to be you. Wait, had Orochimaru pulled off an Itachi? Oh hell no. There was no way that Orochimaru was a good guy. He was much too disturbing for that. While I regret their deaths, the Sannin paused dramatically here. It was necessary to keep the village together. Lie, snarled his instincts. Without hesitating a moment longer, the silver-haired ninja punched through the clone, dispelling it. Are you fucking kidding me? Exclaimed Kakashi, irritated. Did you really think that would work? A low chuckle echoed through the forest. It generally succeeds with Konoha ninja. The formless voice seemed almost smug. Even if they do not believe me, it is an effective distraction. Unfortunately, the more intelligent ninja rarely fall for the trick. Well, aren't you a bastard? Kakashi blinked as he realized something. Did Orochimaru just call me smart? Now, continued the invisible Sannin, let's see how you fare against my friends. Fucking snakes. Kakashi Raikiri'd the hell out of a particularly nasty-looking python. Are you done sending your little pets after me? I can fry a few more if you want. Orochimaru slithered closer, no longer content with just watching. 5, mused the Sannin. What? Kakashi shook the snake guts off his hand and glared. You used the Raikiri 5 times. I was under the impression that 4 was your limit. Furthermore, your chakra is not at all exhausted. Your skills must have improved, remarked Orochimaru with rather gruesome expression. Oh wait. That's his smile. I've gotten a bit better. Kakashi had completely forgotten about his past limit on the Raikiri. He'd worked on his endurance quite a bit during Naruto's 2-year vacation, causing his chakra pool and control to increase greatly. Apparently, both skills had carried over into this body, but his muscles' instincts had not. Kakashi grimaced. Although his current body wasn't as scarred as his old one, this younger body lacked the edge that only came from fighting a war. And considering that his Mangekyo Sharingan was still unpredictable. Shit. This was bad. Luckily for Kakashi, Orochimaru wasn't as strong as he remembered. From the looks of it, the snake freak hadn't made all his extremely disturbing and powerful modifications yet. If Kakashi had his old body, then he would probably be able to defeat this dimension's snake summoner. Sadly, alternate Kakashi's body still needed a lot of training before it could stand on an equal footing with the Sannin. Okay, all this talk about old and new bodies is goddamn weird. It's also hurting my head. I'm not Orochimaru. I really shouldn't have to worry about old and new bodies. Once again, the universe fucking hates me. Dimensional travel my. Kakashi narrowly avoided Orochimaru's tongue attack, jumping out of the way before countering with easily deflected kunai. Are you becoming distracted? You asked me to take you seriously, but you cannot even concentrate on this battle. Maybe I was wrong about you being worthy of notice, taunted the other man freak thing, tongue dangling almost suggestively. Did anyone tell you how damn creepy that is? Kakashi shuddered. Seriously, what was your thought process? I know, he mimicked. I'll just come up with a move that requires me to lick people. It's bad enough you're a pedophile, but being a pedophile with a tongue fetish is even worse. And of course I'm worthy of notice. My Raikiri is awesome, and much cooler than your signature move. Lightning fists beat pedo tongue any day, he thought smugly. Also, didn't I technically outlive Old Dimension you? Take that. You may be harder to kill than a cockroach, but... Struck by a sudden burst of inspiration, Kakashi grinned. Orochimaru, who had been gaping at Kakashi, finally recovered his composure. I am not a pedophile, he hissed. Everything I do is in the name of research. You will pay for your disrespect. Research? You can call giving permanently cursed hickeys to children research? You're more messed up than I thought, Orochimaru. Kakashi smirked, and Orochimaru's eyes widened at the name. Suddenly, the sound of a million snakes hissing filled the air. Blinking, Kakashi stared at the incredibly angry Sannin. The furious Sannin glared back, expression darker than his long and greasy hair, pale fists almost trembling with anger. I should probably run, right? Murmured Kakashi. Orochimaru summoned the sword of Kusanagi. Kakashi took that as a yes. Through luck, determination, skill, and mostly luck, Kakashi managed to lose Orochimaru at the border. Maybe randomly confronting one of the most powerful ninja ever to exist wasn't a good idea. Kakashi sighed and put on a burst of speed. He really had to come up with a legitimate plan. Mucking around with no purpose wouldn't cut it anymore. If he wanted to save this dimension, he'd have to do it properly. Once Kakashi finally made it to Konoha, the tired shinobi headed straight to the Hokage's residence, prepared to give his report. With a graceful movement, he leaped onto the window, deftly propping it open and sliding in. His former teacher and Hokage, still not dead, looked up from his pile of paperwork, irritation clear on his face. I have a door. Minato paused, and his attitude changed completely. Kakashi! You're back. What happened? You look terrible. Ran into Orochimaru, he replied succinctly. Minato opened his mouth, closed it, and stared. Only you, Kakashi, only you? The blonde began to massage his head, feeling a headache come on already. I sent you on a simple bandit mission, and you managed to run into Orochimaru? He ran his hands slowly through his hair, causing the golden spikes to become even more erratic. It wasn't on purpose. Well, it was, but that's not important. Kakashi froze as he noticed something. Sensei? Sensei, Minato began panicking along with his ex-student. What's wrong, Kakashi? Are you injured? Your hair, the Hokage frowned. What about it? Kakashi pushed away the urge to hyperventilate. There's silver in it. Was this Minato somehow related to him? Minato wasn't his half-brother or cousin or something, was he? What was with this world and strange hair? To his surprise, the Hokage laughed. Of course there's silver. I'm not a young man anymore, Kakashi. I'm well into my 30s, so a little gray is expected. Minato was old? That was impossible. His sensei was a ball of sunshine and happiness and youth, shouted an eerily familiar voice in his head, and friendship and old. No. Minato was permanently 20-something. Kakashi refused to believe anything else. The odd color was just a trick of the light. Or misplaced paranoia after seeing Danzo. Or his tired brain. Or something. The graying, not graying, blonde coughed to catch the Jonin's attention. I believe you were about to debrief before you were distracted by my hair? Oh. Right. As with everything else disturbing, Kakashi grabbed the memory, wrestled with it, and buried it deep down. Now that the unsettling thought had been suitably dealt with, he snapped into mission mode. He efficiently ran through his elimination of the bandits before detailing his extra activities. After successfully completing the mission 27 hours after the initial assignment, I noticed that 2 children were missing from the bandits' hideout. I proceeded to track the trail left by the missing children to the Sound Fire border, when I caught Orochimaru's scent. I deduced that he took the children and chose to pursue. Wait, interrupted Minato. You're telling me that you tried to track the 2 missing children, found Orochimaru's scent, and decided to follow him alone across the border? Kakashi paused. Yes? Minato's head hit the desk with a thump. Continue. The order was muffled by the paperwork, but the exasperation was crystal clear in his words. I discovered Orochimaru, and engaged him in battle. I determined that a tactical retreat was the best option, and withdrew shortly after, returning to Konoha 8 hours after the fight. Good to know, mumbled the Hokage. Oh, I also learned some important information. I don't know how accurate it is, because this god-awful mutant dimension screws everything up, but I think you should keep it in mind. Now that Kakashi had met with Orochimaru, he had an excuse to tell Minato everything he knew about the missing Sannin. You might want to cancel your other appointments. This will take a while. After hearing every detail Kakashi could remember about Orochimaru, which was a lot, sadly, the yondaime could do nothing but gaze blankly at Kakashi. Carefully, with great effort and an aching hand, Minato pulled himself back together. Brainwashed Kazekage? Asked Minato slowly. Yes. Snake Man Resurrection Jutsu? Yes. Undead Zombie Hokages? Also yes. The yondaime massaged his forehead. That's a lot to take in, he said weakly. Suddenly, Minato paused and looked curiously at Kakashi. How did you learn all this? Orochimaru told me, immediately replied Kakashi. And I'm an interdimensional time traveler. With plainly seen disbelief, his former sensei held up the thick stack of notes he had taken during Kakashi's lecture. Orochimaru told you all this? During your battle? Yes? Realizing that he sounded rather unconvincing, Kakashi elaborated. You know how those evil psychopathic masterminds are. Always monologuing and spilling their evil plans. Minato's blonde eyebrows had almost vanished into his hairline. How long was Orochimaru monologuing? 2 hours? 3? Kakashi laughed nervously. He just talked really fast. Minato frowned. He didn't push the subject, but his expression clearly told Kakashi that this wasn't over. All right. Well, I'll send this down to Intel anyway. If it's accurate then. The Hokage grinned, a fearsome light appearing in his eye. We might be able to get rid of that snake once and for all. Kakashi I smiled back. Glad I could help, sensei. Now, if you'll excuse me. He faced the window, prepared to flicker out. Just where do you think you're going? The silver-headed ninja stopped. Did I forget something, sensei? The fearsome gleam in Minato's eye became even scarier. Kakashi resisted the urge to shiver. He knew that smile. Shit. He knew that smile. Currently, he was looking at Minato's sweet, murderous genocidal payback here I come smile. In other words, the revenge smile. Kakashi knew from experience that Minato's version of revenge was very different from the average ninja's. A regular shinobi or kunoichi, if wronged, might punch the offender in the face. Or perhaps beat them up. Or maybe even play a prank. Minato, if wronged, would punch the offenders in the face, then beat them up, play a prank, sabotage their relationships, assign them the worst missions, throw them in a lake, play another prank, and finally hirishin them to the moon, and leave them there, all the while appearing as innocent as can be, without ever leaving a trace of evidence. Kushina may have been the village prankster, but Minato was goddamn vindictive. Sasuke's attempts at revenge had nothing on Minato's. Trusting his instincts, Kakashi jumped out the window again, only to face-plant into a shimmering barrier. That trick won't work twice. The yondaime stood up and walked very deliberately to Kakashi, placing his hand on the younger ninja's shoulder. The copy nin immediately tensed. Manners, Kakashi? Did I dismiss you yet? And no, Hokage-sama, that's what I thought. Now, take a seat. I have some things I need to discuss with you. Things? Kakashi checked the chair for traps before hesitantly sitting down. Yes. Things like your next assignment, in fact. Minato's grin grew wider. Well, next few assignments, to be more specific. Kakashi's finger twitched, but he didn't respond. I put your name in the pool for Jonin-sensei. Once he graduates, Naruto will be on your team. And you better not fail. My son was the unspoken but clearly present subtext. He stared at his former teacher. This was perfect. This was absolutely perfect. Oh. Okay. Kakashi was unable to completely hide his absolute giddiness at Minato's words. Now he could keep an eye on all three of his little minions to be without attracting attention. He'd make sure that this Team 7 would never split, even if it killed them. Can I pick the other two? Minato looked like someone had suddenly Rasengan at him in the face. Kakashi hid a smile at his former teacher's shock. With this coup de grace, Minato had forced Kakashi to take on students, which he assumed the council was still howling for him to do, annoyed his former student immensely, and given Naruto to a trusted Jonin-sensei who would die to protect his son. Minato's revenge would have been flawless. 4 years ago, when Kakashi was firmly against teaching any kind of brat. This Kakashi was content, no, eager, to start training his adorable team. The Hokage still hadn't answered, his mouth open in confusion. Great! Kakashi's eye crinkled. I want also Uchiha Sasuke and Hirano Sakura on my team. Though it seemed impossible, Minato grew even more shocked, though he finally managed to weakly respond. Kakashi, that team would be a recipe for disaster. Sasuke and Naruto would work well together, but adding Hirano Sakura would completely. The blonde trailed off and winced at the thought. Oh? You know who Sakura is? Kakashi looked at his old teacher with interest. Sakura had always been the overlooked one. Even the Sandaime, back in his original dimension, had only placed her on Team 7 as an afterthought. Minato shot him a dry look. Of course I do. I get a complaint about her every other day. The academy teachers call her the fangirl from hell. I don't think I've ever seen a more lethal civilian child. Even better! Chirped Kakashi. So you understand how incredible this team could be. They'll definitely surpass the Sannin. The Hokage blinked rapidly. Alright, something was definitely wrong with his former student. Why was Kakashi enthusiastic about taking a team? He hated children. Excluding Naruto, but Naruto was Kakashi's brother in every way but blood, so he didn't count. Minato frowned, intent on getting to the bottom of this. Kakashi, a large thump interrupted the yondaime. Oh? The silver-haired ninja somehow shrugged in a cheerful way. That sounds like an ANBU agent crashing into your barrier. Another thump punctuated his statement. Looks like it's urgent. Well, I'd better go. I don't want to take up any more of your valuable time. After the third thump, Minato grudgingly deactivated the barrier. Fine. But don't think I'll let this go, the blonde added, eyes narrowing as he scrutinized the younger man's far too innocent expression. I don't know what you mean, sensei. I'll see you later. He was saved from further interrogation when the ANBU operative finally managed to make it through the window. Kakashi half saluted the very irritated cat-masked agent and vanished in a swirl of leaves.